Today, we'll take a brief look at the Comfort Code, tech-supported sensory design for diverse abilities. Our discussion will focus on how technology can be thoughtfully incorporated into everyday environments to create a sensory sanctuary, a space designed to promote comfort, regulation, engagement, and well-being for individuals with developmental disabilities. Let's get started.
Let's dive right into this explainer and discover how we can transform our everyday spaces into truly supportive, sensory sanctuaries using tech you might already have in your house. You know, we often take comfort completely for granted. Well, at least until it's suddenly gone. But for so many adults navigating the world with intellectual disabilities, brain injuries, or even just age-related sensory changes, daily environments can honestly feel more like obstacle courses than safe havens. So today, we're unpacking a really fascinating framework called the Comfort Code, which beautifully merges human-centered design with modern assistive technology. Here's our roadmap for building the ultimate tech-supported sensory sanctuary. We'll start with the power of environment, then decode unique sensory needs, move into lighting and sound control, designing for touch and movement, setting up the smart home hub, and wrap up with the future of comfort. Starting off with Section 1, the power of environment and how it shapes behavior. We're looking at a fundamental truth here about how our surroundings actively wire our nervous systems. Have you ever just walked into a room and suddenly felt super anxious, but you literally had no idea why? It happens to the best of us, right? It perfectly illustrates how our environment isn't just passive background noise. For most of us, we unconsciously filter out the hum of an air conditioner or the harsh flicker of a fluorescent light. But for adults with diverse sensory needs, those hidden stressors can be overwhelming obstacles that actually block their ability to communicate and participate in daily life. A core principle of this entire framework is that all behavior is communication. So when we see challenging behaviors, we really need to flip our perspective. Take the story of a man named Darren from our source material. He was often labeled as aggressive during group meals, but his care team eventually realized the dining room had really harsh overhead lighting, clanging silverware, and strong food odors. Once they lowered the lights and gave him noise-canceling headphones, his behavior completely transformed. So instead of asking how to stop a behavior, we should be asking, what is this environment forcing them to communicate? Moving right along to Section 2, decoding unique sensory needs. Because to really help someone, we first have to decode how they actually experience the world. To do this, we've got to understand sensory processing, which is basically the way your brain receives, organizes, and responds to input from the world. Look, everyone processes things differently. When this system functions in a unique way, an individual might experience the world with way too much intensity, that's hypersensitivity, or even too little, which is hyposensitivity. For example, a heavy, soft blanket could be incredibly comforting to you, but feel completely intolerable and suffocating to someone else. And if we ignore those preferences, it causes profound emotional distress. And hey, it is not just about what we see, hear, or smell. Beyond the standard 5 senses, there are 3 hidden ones we absolutely have to consider. There's proprioception, which is how you know where your limbs are without looking at them. Then the vestibular sense, which handles your balance. And interoception, which is your ability to read internal signals, like hunger or a racing heart when you're anxious. These hidden senses explain why someone might really need to rock back and forth for vestibular balance, or why they might struggle to even realize they're thirsty. All right, Section 3, lighting and sound control. Let's see how we can actually use tech to address the 2 most common environmental triggers. Think about the profound relief of slipping on a pair of Bluetooth noise-canceling headphones. We live in a chaotic, seriously loud world. For someone with sensory sensitivities, a loud siren or a crowded room isn't just annoying, it can be physically painful. A simple tech intervention, like a good pair of headphones, lets a person navigate public spaces or shared homes with an actual sense of serenity and control. It's a total game changer. What makes this so exciting is how accessible these solutions are now. We're talking about basic off-the-shelf smart tools. Think smart bulbs that you can program to shift to a calming blue color to signal quiet time, no verbal instructions needed. Or automated dimming routines that gently prep the nervous system for sleep. You can even use decibel monitoring apps like Decibel X or Earlo to alert caregivers if a room gets too loud. Using these everyday tools, tech basically acts as a silent translator between a harsh environment and an individual's unique needs. And the real-world impact, it is truly life-changing. Take this quote from the mother of Malik, a 28-year-old with developmental disabilities. For years, unpredictable noises and harsh lights in his own house caused intense dysregulation. But once they upgraded his space with smart lights, a white noise machine, and visual countdown timers on a tablet, everything shifted. He finally found peace. As his mom perfectly put it, for the first time in years, I saw him smile at home and feel like it was his space. He didn't just survive in it anymore, he owned it. That brings us to Section 4, designing for touch and movement. We're moving from what we see and hear to how we physically occupy a space. Designing a supportive room means creating very clear spatial boundaries. You want active zones for bouncing, swinging, and engaging. These are crucial for regulating a nervous system that craves vestibular input. But then you also need passive zones. These are your soft, quiet retreats for downregulation. And this is absolutely crucial. These passive spaces must always be seen as sanctuaries. They can never ever be used as a punishment or a timeout corner. The ultimate result of this kind of deliberate spatial design is true peace of mind. When we allow the body to move and rest safely, we allow the brain to regulate. It's about giving adults with disabilities genuine freedom in their own homes. We need to provide environments that adapt to their physical bodies rather than forcing them to adapt to rigid, uncomfortable environments. And tech supports this physical regulation so beautifully. We've got vibrating cushions and smart weighted blankets that warm up on a schedule. There are even wearable haptic sensors now that literally detect a rising heart rate and automatically respond with calming vibrations. Wild, right? Or think about something as beautifully simple as motion-triggered lighting. It creates a safe, visible path to the bathroom at night without requiring someone to fumble in the dark for a switch. It preserves their independence. Now let's tie all these gadgets together in Section 5, the Smart Home Hub, or what I like to call the brain of the operation. A central smart hub is the digital heart of the Comfort Code. Platforms like Alexa, Google Home, or Apple HomeKit serve as the command center, and this is incredibly empowering. It allows, say, a nonverbal adult to trigger a whole sequence of calming lights, drop the temperature, and start a soothing playlist with just a simple tap on a screen or a pre-scheduled routine. It completely bypasses the need for physical effort or verbal commands. Now, if you're thinking, whoa, this sounds like a lot to set up, don't worry, just take it step by step. First, identify the single biggest sensory stressor. Maybe it's just the harsh lighting. Second, pick a hub the individual can comfortably interact with, voice-activated, or maybe a visual tablet layout. And third, actually, this is the most important part, always include the person in designing the routine. Ask them what makes their space feel better. Their personal input is absolutely key to making this work.
And that perfectly sets up our final layer, Section 6, the future of comfort. Let's take a look at the incredible innovations on the horizon.
Have you heard of ambient computing? Because this is where things get truly mind-blowing. This is technology that seamlessly and invisibly adapts the environment without requiring any direct interaction from the user at all. Imagine a home that notices if its resident is getting restless. Without anyone saying a word, the house just automatically dims the lights, lowers the temperature a couple of degrees, and plays a rhythmic, calming beat. It's proactive comfort that actually cares alongside you. We can even push environmental control further. For adults dealing with chronic pain or severe mobility limits, just getting out into nature isn't always an option. But tools like MetaQuest VR headsets can instantly transport them to a calming sunrise over the ocean or a quiet, interactive digital forest. It provides this profound sensory escape and emotional relief, totally bypassing physical barriers. Behind all this is the breathtaking future of predictive tech. AI will soon be able to analyze behavioral patterns, sleep cycles, and even voice inflections to actually predict a sensory meltdown before it happens, and adjust the room's lighting or sound proactively. But, and this is a massive but, there is a golden rule here. Prediction must never replace a person's permission or autonomy. Technology is a support system, guys, not a surrogate for human choice. Ultimately, the core takeaway from this explainer is this. We are absolutely not using smart gadgets to fix anyone's behavior or to force individuals to conform to a noisy, chaotic world. Rather, we're using empathy-driven design to expand their freedom. We're adapting the world to them, ensuring that comfort and peace are treated as fundamental human rights and not just luxuries reserved for a few. So, I'm going to leave you with this provocative thought to carry forward. How can you harness empathy and technology to transform the spaces you live and work in? Seriously, look around your own environment right now. Ask yourself how a simple, thoughtful tech shift, maybe just swapping a bulb or downloading a white noise app, could unlock a much greater sense of peace, autonomy, and dignity for someone else. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I challenge you to start designing for comfort today.